Hi friends, thanks for joining me. Today I've got a layout using the gorgeous January kits from Hip Kit Club, and as you can see they are full of pinks, lilacs, blues, gorgeous kit and lots of things to choose from as always. I am on Mixed Media Monday, so we are going to do some mixed media my way so it's not too busy. And to do this, I'm going to use some stencils that came from the colour kit this month. And because it's a stencil, I don't like to use sprays through a stencil, and that's just my personal preference. I like a bit of control. And I'm going to use some of the inks from previous months. These are the Catherine Pooler inks. And as you can see, I only had pink and blue here. So I've mixed them together to kind of make some purpley kind of colours. But I wanted it to be kind of pink in some areas and a little bit more purple. So I've mixed it to try and match up with the shimmers that came in this month's kit as well. So I wanted it all to tone together. And look how pretty that stencil is. It's kind of like a flowery shape. It's just really pretty, and I'm thrilled as to how my stenciling turned out. And now I'm going to add some Plum Crazy there, which is an Inklings from Shimmerz, and I think I've matched up the colour perfectly, even if I do say so myself. So you can see I've watered it down, and I'm just using a very large round paintbrush to apply that to my background. So I want to retain the pretty stenciling, of course, but I do want it to be soft around the edges and kind of a painterly feel, hence mixing the two mediums together. Also in this month's colour kit, we had a colour called Frostbite, which is a spritz, I should say. So I've just used some of that to add in some blue splatters to just tone really. And I'm speeding this up just so I don't bore you to pieces. But one of the challenges for me this week was to use border punches, which I'd forgotten about and now remembered. So I'm going to use some of those gorgeous fringes that we got in the main kit this month. And you look at my colours, they just match perfectly, so I'm quite pleased with myself there. Sometimes it's kind of hard to match colours, isn't it? But I think the shimmers that we got were a perfect match anyway. And then, as I say, my stenciling, I was quite proud of the colour of mix there. And in real life, hopefully you can see at the end, but it is really pretty because I really did, kind of get that mix of pinks and lilacs and purples, which isn't a colourway I normally use, but I'm actually loving it from this kit. I'm really enjoying using that colourway for a change. I have used a black and white photo of me and my hubby from a recent holiday. I've got a sneaky winter holiday away with a family. So we don't often have photographs together, so it's nice to get one together of both of us. As I am using border punches to help tell my story on my layout, I've cut out a couple of strips there and just deciding how can I use those. And in fact I used the same paper and flipped it over, but I think it kind of needs something else, so I'll come back to that. I've also had this month's dyes. I couldn't think of the word then. I tell you, menopause is a killer. So I've had this month's dyes, and you can see there was that matrix type heart, I'm not sure what to call it, which I've cut out of some of the cardstock, and I've just backed that onto some of the darker kind of blue, navy blue colour. Now, did you get a chance to look at the cardstock kit this month? Because there's something brand new there for Hip Kit. We have got some plain cardstock, although I say it's plain, it is actually printed and coloured cardstock, but it has a slight pattern, a very subtle pattern, to mimic some of the linen type cardstocks that you can get. But because it's all printed in the same kit, it matches absolutely perfectly to the main kit and the embellishment kits, etc. So this is where I decide that I've got to change out that cardstock border. So I'm swapping it over to something a bit darker. Don't know if you just heard my dog padding around there. Decided to help himself to my craft room. And I'm much happy with that. I think it just gives it that little bit of punch. And you'll probably see me do this a fair bit on my layout, but I'm going to add some more mixed media. So here's my problem with mixed media. I kind of think, oh, I'm going to put it around this part of my layout, and then I decide to cover that part up completely so you can't see it. I do it all the time, never learn my lesson. So, and then I decide I'm going to put some more mixed media on, but at that point I already have my photo. So I'm quite proud of myself here that I've actually remembered to do that before sticking my photo down. Does make a bit of a change. So I'm just trying to decide, you know, because there's so many things to choose from, I do get a little bit indecisive, shall we say. So I kind of go backwards and forwards. And then while I'm thinking of that, I think I'll go back and stick on the bits that I do know I want. So I put that border at the top. And I like the way it mimics the bottom border. I think it just adds a little bit of interest to your background without being too busy or overwhelming. So that's about where my photo is going to go. So I can still see some of my mixed media, which is fantastic. One thing I like to do, and I do quite frequently, is I use a very fine liner. And this one is a light grey. And I just outline the elements of the stenciling area. And I do it quite frequently, but it just really helps to add a little bit of definition to stenciling, which is fantastic. So I'm just going to build up the embellishment cluster now, and I'm going to use some of those pretty flowers that you'll find from the embellishment kit, as well as some of the thickers or chipboard pieces. And there's so much to choose from. It really is a joy to work with every month. This is why we all want to be on Hip Kit, I'm guessing, because it is such a fantastic kit club. So whilst going through all the stickers and so on, I did find some balloons. I do love a balloon. What's not to love? Balloons say happy things to me. So I found these balloons on the cardstock stickers there, and I'm just going to place some twines. I've got very thin wax twine, which I'm going to trail down as if it's letting my balloons fly. And I just think, to me, that kind of adds to the happy feel of things, or to a celebration. And it was around sort of Christmas, New Year time for us, so it kind of fits with what we were doing. So when I'm adding flowers and embellishments, I do tend to try and stick to the colours. There were lots of colours in the embellishment kit that you could choose from, but I'm sticking with a very kind of the purple and blue tones, because that just makes my life a little bit easier when creating the layout. And what I've decided to do, as you can see here, I'm taking some of the Shimmerz again, and I'm just painting round my embellishments on one side. And what I'm trying to achieve is to add a little bit of a shadow around those embellishments. And I think it just really helps to add some depth to your layout, and gives those embellishments a little extra impact. So it's a really simple technique, but again, if you're doing some mixed media, it's a great way to add a bit of depth and just to make sure you can see the colour that you've added. So I'm a bit backwards and forwards, which is my way. So a little bit more twine here, and that kind of echoes in with the balloons. Just stick that into place. And I'm going to have a 2022 at the top, using they're actually chipboard stickers to look like wood veneer. Does that make sense? So I think those are from the main kit, if I'm not mistaken. And I've just picked out the 2022. And then I've just delved into the Pocket Live kit, where you've got those vinyl stickers. And I'm just going to tuck a few in here and there. And there is a little pop of red there. I did find some hearts that were more purple and blue, but I know I said I'm sticking with purples and blues, but I do think an odd splash of something here and there isn't going to go amiss. So I think it's just a case now of adding a few bits and pieces here and there, which is always my favourite bit of the layout. A little bit more faffing around with the colour. So I've really enjoyed playing with the mixed media out of this month's kit. I do think I never used to get the colour kit until I think it was about 18 months ago, maybe 12 months ago. And what I'm finding is I wish I'd started right back in the beginning, because you kind of build up a collection. And of course you've got these inks and shimmers that you keep in your stash. And I found them really, really enjoyable to use on the layout. It's really my type of mixed media, very easy to use, and gives a lovely feel to your layout. So I would highly recommend them if you get the chance to invest in those each month, and you'll soon build up a collection to use. So there's a bit more mixed media going on there. So I'm just going to add some splatters now, some white splatters. This was really inspired by Josephine, who adds lovely white splatters to everything, and I think she's inspired a whole generation of crafters to add white splatters. So thank you, Josephine. It does add a lovely finishing touch. And then I remembered, oh my goodness, we've got the dies. I've got some dies this month, and there's a great selection of dies to choose from. And I'm also going to use some of the banner dies and tag dies, which I think came this month. I do get a bit lost as to what I'm doing when. So there's a good selection of tags, which are always my favourite thing in the world. And there's also some journal words in there like love and hello, which are perfect for adding a little bit of detail to a layout. As you can see, I'm doing that here, just running that through my Sizzix. But you can use any die cutting machine. They are just the wafer thin dies, so you can use them on your Kettlebug or electronic machine, no problem. And I'm just going to use those to add my journaling. And I did punch a tab out earlier, which I'm going to replace with my die cut tab, just so it's all hip kit stuff. And what I really like about those tags, and hopefully you'll see this on the close-ups, is there are little reinforcers, and it's just that cute detail that I think is top. So be sure to look out for the dies, because they're really great value for money, really sturdy and cut through your paper like butter, so I can highly recommend those. So after a bit more fanning around, I'm just going to leave you now with the close-ups, because that kind of wraps everything up. I'm really pleased how this came out. I'm not the world's biggest mixed media, but absolutely loving this version of mixed media for me. And I hope you like it too. And maybe I've encouraged you to have a go yourself. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Thanks then. Bye.